Hey, what's up? Caroline Ellis is a 25-year-old caregiver, her heart heavy with guilt. She works at a palliative care hospital in New Orleans, the kind of place where nobody leaves alive. While reading quietly to a terminal patient, she watches him die in silence, alone, no family, no one, and it destroys her inside. Caroline lost her father without being there for him, and now, seeing others die abandoned, she decides she can't take it anymore. While helping throw away the belongings of deceased patients, literally throwing lives in the trash, she makes a decision. She's going to leave it all behind. Caroline wants to work somewhere she can truly make a difference, and that's when she sees an ad in the newspaper. Private residence caregiver needed, room and board included, weekly pay $1,000, a modest salary, but a new chance. The house is an old mansion, isolated in the middle of a swamp in Terrebonne Parish, rural Louisiana. Upon arrival, Caroline is greeted by Luke, the family lawyer. He seems friendly, too friendly. He soon introduces Violet Devereaux, the lady of the house, a cold, rigid woman who's visibly distrustful. The patient Caroline will care for is Ben Devereaux, Violet's husband. He's paralyzed, supposedly from a stroke, and can't speak. But his eyes say everything, a silent plea for help. From the beginning, Violet makes it clear she doesn't want Caroline there. Maybe because she's from the north, maybe because she's too young, or maybe something darker. Still, Caroline accepts the job and soon moves into the mansion. The mansion has strange rules. The first, no mirrors. All of them have been removed. Violet says it's for superstition, but Caroline notices the marks on the walls, where mirrors used to hang. Everything seems recent, planned. Violet hands Caroline a special key, the skeleton key, a master key that opens practically every door in the house, but not all of them. In the attic, there's a locked door that even the skeleton key won't open, and that's exactly where Ben supposedly had his stroke. Caroline asks about the attic, but Violet deflects, always with evasions. Meanwhile, Ben seems increasingly distressed, trying to communicate with his eyes, with gestures, with desperation. It's another day, and Caroline tends to Ben's hygiene before wheeling him down to the garden where Violet is waiting. Violet suddenly realizes she forgot some seeds in the attic and asks Caroline to fetch them for her. With no other choice, Caroline heads to the location. Upon entering, she notices strange sounds. What catches her attention is another door, as if something is trying to get out. Curious, Caroline tries to open it, but the key won't fit. At that moment, a door slams shut by itself, leaving Caroline terrified. Once again, she questions Violet about the place, but she dodges the subject. Night falls. Caroline takes her bath and goes to bed. It's a stormy night when Caroline wakes to a noise. She runs to Ben's room, but finds him on the roof crawling with difficulty, as if fleeing from something. He falls. Caroline rushes to help him, but she can't carry him. She goes to Ben's room to get his wheelchair, but finds something terrifying on his sheet, written in dirt, "Help me." She hides the sheet and begins to suspect, maybe Ben isn't sick, maybe he's trapped. The next day, the couple's lawyer comes to the mansion. Caroline tells him what happened the previous night and says she wants to show him something in the room. She explains that Ben is in danger and tried to escape, left a message on the sheet, but she gets confused because there's nothing written there anymore. However, determined to understand what's happening, Caroline takes advantage of a moment when Violet is distracted and runs to the attic. She takes a hairpin and inserts it into the lock. In the attempt, she removes a broken piece of key from inside, managing to force the door open and enter the forbidden place. Inside, she finds something that shouldn't be there. A hidden room, a true altar, tribal masks, bones, ancient books, bottles with strange liquids, and a bunch of mirrors, hidden there. In the center of the room, an old record player, and among the objects, a record with a name written by hand, The Conjure of Sacrifice. Caroline takes the vinyl and brings it home, where she listens alone. The voice coming from the speakers is deep, ancient. It's the voice of Papa Justify, an old hoodoo practitioner. Caroline, frightened, seeks out her friend Jill, who used to live with her. Together, they research hoodoo, a form of folk magic from the southern U.S., different from voodoo. The main rule of hoodoo is simple and terrifying. It only works if you believe. If you're skeptical, you're safe. But if you start to believe even a little, you open yourself to the spells, and then you're done for. Jill takes Caroline to her aunt's laundromat, which has a secret magic shop in the back. But still, with some apprehension and fear, Jill refuses to enter and they end up leaving. arriving at the mansion, Caroline goes to Ben's room. Seeing that everything is normal, she heads toward the attic. The next day, Violet, tending to her chores, gets startled when she sees a mirror in Ben's room and immediately goes to confront Caroline, who did it on purpose to insult her. Caroline confronts her again, and then Violet gives in and reveals a dark past. Decades ago, the house belonged to a wealthy family. Two black servants, Papa Justify and Mama Cecile, were caught performing a ritual in the attic with the master's children. The party guests stormed the room, dragged them out by force, and lynched them in front of the house. They burned their bodies, and the mirrors began showing things. But there's something strange about this story. Why does the house still keep the ritual objects? The next day, Caroline finds red powder inside a room and suspects something. Hours later, she's giving Ben a bath, but soap gets in her eyes. Needing to use the mirror, she gets close to Ben and decides to point the mirror at him, who becomes extremely agitated. Finding it strange, she takes courage and goes to the supposed laundromat. Entering, she searches for a woman named Mama Cynthia, who confirms Caroline's worst fears. That altar is real. The spell is real. And, yes, someone is trapped. She advises Caroline to cast a reversal spell, something that could free Ben if there's still time. Caroline is obsessed. Nothing makes sense anymore, and everything seems connected. She tries to convince Luke, the family lawyer, that Ben isn't sick but rather bewitched. He listens calmly, even seems to understand, but there's something strange in his gaze. A subtle disdain, a disguised indifference. Caroline insists, takes Luke to the shop where she saw protective objects like the red powder line at the gas station entrance. That's when she discovers its name, red brick dust. Brick powder used in hoodoo rituals to keep evil spirits away. In the same place, Caroline meets a blind woman listening to old records. She asks about the vinyl, the conjure of sacrifice, and the woman panics. Yes, that spell is real, and it's not just an enchantment, it's a soul-swapping ritual. Whoever performs it can leap from body to body, living eternally, at the cost of someone else's soul. Convinced that Violet is behind everything, Caroline devises a bold plan. She's going to drug Violet, rescue Ben, and escape the house. That night, she prepares tea with sedative. Violet is suspicious but drinks it. She starts to stumble, and before passing out, tries to draw a circle on the floor with chalk and symbols. Caroline takes the protection ritual and runs to Violet's room, trying to find something, and discovers that yes, Violet took the sheet, plus there's dirt powder around the bed with a protection symbol. The vinyl record and Caroline's hair were hidden there too. With Ben in a wheelchair, Caroline tries to escape, but the house gates are locked, and Violet awakens, armed with a shotgun. In desperation, Caroline hides Ben in the shed and flees through the swamp in a boat. She reaches town and runs to Luke's apartment, tells him everything, begs for help. He pretends to believe, but when Caroline searches through his things, she finds the original skeleton key and objects from the attic. Before she can escape, Luke appears from behind and strangles her until she loses consciousness. When she wakes up, Caroline is tied up, being taken back to the house. There, Violet waits for her, calmly, in control, as if everything had gone exactly as planned. They interrogate her. Want to know where Ben is hidden? Caroline resists, but remembering the brick dust, she has an idea. She tricks them both, and when she breaks free, starts spreading red brick dust across the house doors, creating protective barriers. But Violet finds her upstairs. The two fight. Caroline manages to push her down the stairs, breaking her legs. Thinking she's won, Caroline calls the police. And Jill, her friend, the phone is cut, Luke is back, and the only escape route is the attic. In the attic, Caroline finds the ritual protection circle. She recreates it with chalk, blood, hair, everything, according to the spell's diagram. She believes she's protected, but Violet enters dragging herself, still broken, and says, "Who gave you that spell, Caroline?" "I did, remember?" Caroline starts to doubt, and realizes she was manipulated all along. This was exactly where they wanted her to be, in the center of the circle, in the perfect place. To complete the conjure of sacrifice, Violet lifts a mirror. Caroline screams, "I don't believe," but it's too late. The spell works the moment doubt transforms into faith. Both scream, the mirror explodes, and everything falls silent. Minutes later, Caroline wakes up, different. She's calm, calculating, and speaks like Violet, because now, Violet is in Caroline's body. And Caroline? Present, conscious, but trapped in the broken body of old Violet, mute, paralyzed, unable to warn anyone. Luke, in reality, was always the host body for Papa Justify. Ben was just the latest body used by him, now discarded, like the previous ones. Everything makes sense now. Decades ago, the real Justify and Cecile switched bodies with the Master's children, fooling the party guests. They killed their old bodies and kept living, jumping from body to body. Jill arrives with the ambulance. She finds Violet, who is now Caroline on the outside, and Luke, who looks the same as always. They say that old Violet had a breakdown, fell down the stairs, and is being taken for medical care along with Ben. The police believe it, Jill believes it, and the plan is complete. In the final scene, Carolina, now trapped inside Violet's frail body, watches helplessly as her own identity slips away forever. Thus ends The Skeleton Key, a 2005 supernatural thriller where nothing is as it seems, and where belief, when misdirected, can seal your fate. Thanks for watching.